Our next guest played more than 1,000 NHL games. He won 2 Stanley Cups, and he has already won an NCAA championship as the head coach of the Boston University Terriers. It's our pleasure to welcome to the program Mr. Jay Pandolfo. Coach, thanks for making time here today. Much obliged.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Obviously, a lot of ties to British Columbia now with our program. So,
well, indeed, we were just saying, including the blue line, though, will be a lot of eyes on your blue line this year, where Tom Willander and Aiden Celebrini will man some time. First and foremost, Coach Willander, I mean, it is exceedingly rare to see a Swedish player who comes up through the Swedish system make the decision to play NCAA hockey. How are you able to land this player?
Yeah, no question. We're certainly fortunate that we were able to get him to come to Boston University and commit to us. We kind of got word that he was considering that option through his advisor. So we started doing some research on him and started doing some work on him. And our assistant coach, Joe Pereira, who does a lot of the recruiting, ended up seeing him last summer and, got to meet him. And then we took a trip up to see him at the World Junior A Challenge. And, we really talked to him about kind of what we're doing with development. And to his credit, he just felt like for him, he thought it would be faster to have a chance to get to the National Hockey League through the NCAA route. So he felt like we checked a lot of boxes for him, and that's really how it played out. We ended up building a relationship, and we're really excited to have him join us this year.
I just checked the roster of your team, the final team that you played on at Boston University. I didn't see a lot of European players on your last roster as a player. That's a trend that's changing, isn't it, in NCAA? There's more and more that are choosing to go this route.
Yeah, no question. It seems like more and more guys are coming over. Last year we had Wilmer Skog, who was from Sweden, from a similar area where Willander is. So I think Willander took that into account as well. I think guys from Stockholm especially are comfortable in the city. Boston University, a little bit more of a city campus. The flights from Stockholm to Boston makes a lot of sense. So it just kind of all fell into place.
Is the perception that it just, getting onto that rink, bigger bodies, that it prepares you for the NHL better? Is that the perception, you think?
I think so. I think that was part of it for him. He just wanted to get used to the North American game. He thought it would be harder to do that over in Sweden, and he'd have more time to adjust when he did decide to come over here. So he wanted to get a head start on it. And I think he too, and through his advisor too, realized now there's a lot of players that spend a couple of years in college and they do step right into the National Hockey League. And I think that was a big plus for Thomas as well.
Give us a scouting report, Coach. What do you see in Willander?
The first thing that jumps off the page is, obviously his skating. His competitiveness, I think, is another big part of it. He's a really competitive kid. He's great defensively, closes really quick. His transition game is excellent. So I think he fits the mold of a lot of NHL defensemen. Now, you want defenders that can close quick and end plays and get going the other way. And I think that's one of his strengths. His feet are great, so he can get out of a lot of trouble with his feet alone.
Tough question, but how many years do you think he needs before he's NHL ready?
We try not to project right away, but I'm sure if you talk to Vancouver as well, I think they would probably expect 2 years. I think that's probably fair. With where he's at. I think coming over here, there's probably going to be a little bit of an adjustment early on for him, but I do think he's going to find his way pretty quickly. So I would expect to have him for 2 years. It's obviously a bonus for us if we get him for 3, but I think if he's ready to go after 2, and that's something we do as well. Like if we feel like a guy's ready, we're not going to try to hold him back. If he's ready to go after 2 years, then he's ready to go.
BU typically has some really good teams with a lot of talent, and in some cases upperclassmen who take up a lot of the minutes. Give us a sense of your team this year and how much you anticipate Willander and Celebrini will play.
Yeah, I think last year we weren't as deep on defense as we are this year. I think we were going to have 9 D in our roster, and I think 7 are drafted players. So right there it tells you the level of talent we have. The one good thing in college is you can dress an extra player. So you can, whether you want to go 13 forward, 6D, or however you want to shake out, 12 and 7. Well, because of the depth we have on D this year, we'll probably go more 12 and 7. But for us, we'll let the guys sort it out in the first month, see who's going to earn the ice time. And we were pretty fair last year with our freshman class, where these guys earned a lot of the ice time, and it doesn't really matter what year you are. If you're going to help us win, we're going to play the guys that are going to help us win on that particular night.
A lot of schools have rivalries and local derbies, if you will, to use a soccer parlance. But how helpful is it for players to jump into Boston knowing, they've got value added, they've got bean pots to play in, where there's high stakes games more than just the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in that. I think it's that's one of the big reasons to come to school in Boston, to be part of the Beanpot. It's pretty good experience for these kids to have that type of environment and get into it in just a Monday night in February, which is the crazy thing about it. But it has a buzz around it. The last couple of years, especially after COVID, it really seems like it's back, and it's exciting. The fans are into it. The players are into it. Our coach, one of our assistant coaches, Kim Brandville, who actually played at UMass Lowell, he knew about the Beanpot, was never really part of it. This year we get on the bench, and the first thing he says to me is, "All right, I get it. I get why this is such a big deal." So it really is exciting. And for us too, like at BU, we try to play a tough schedule, where we actually play Cornell at Madison Square Garden this year as well. And Cornell packs the place down there. So it's another great experience for these kids. And it just gets them ready for what to expect at the next level. They're going to be playing in these environments every night.
You've got brand names, you've got famous last names, big time draft picks. What's draft picks to come even? This is going to be an interesting year for you, I think, isn't it? Given who you've got and managing the expectations of a lot of young players who want to play and want to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get started here. We got a couple of weeks before everyone's back on campus, and we're getting going. I think the expectations for us are high this year from a team standpoint and from a lot of individual standpoints. So, like last year, I thought we did a pretty good job of just guys buying into, at some points have to sacrifice a little bit for the good of the team. And I think guys will fall into line that way. But of course, we understand too, individuals want to have success in certain areas as well. So, we make it a competition every day. And if you have those type of players that want to compete for their jobs, usually it ends up working out pretty well. And I think the guys understand too that to give up a little bit to win as a group goes a long way. And our guys have seemed to buy into that. And we need to get that buy-in again this year from our guys.
We got great rapport on this show with the entirety of the Celebrini family. We've had Rick, Aiden, and Macklin on here over the last few months. We'll start with Aiden, the Canucks draft pick. We talked to him most recently after he was selected in late June by the Canucks. What do you see in him as a player, Jay?
Yeah, first we were really happy that he got drafted. I think he was maybe a little unsure if he was going to get drafted or not, and for him to get drafted was great. I think number one is his work ethic is off the charts, and I think for him he's going to be a defenseman that's hard to play against. He's going to defend really hard. I think his offense is getting better. I think he's going to keep adding to that, and I think for us here we're trying to develop players in all aspects. Some guys might be better defensively to start, but we're going to continue to try to grow those strengths, but also work on things they need to get better at. And I think for him, he's keep growing his offensive game, but not forgetting what's going to make him successful. So I think he's got the right mindset, and he's really excited.
You think that Macklin kid will be okay?
I think he's going to be decent. Yeah. He's another kid too, where at such a young age coming in here, but for him, he already plays such a mature game, and I think a lot of people, talk about that. Where obviously he's high-end offensive talent, but he doesn't cheat the game. He plays the game the right way on both sides of the puck, and I think that's a little bit rare for younger players that are that good offensively, not to cheat the game. So that's the one really impressive thing about him, that he really values playing 200-foot hockey. As a centerman at a young age. So that certainly helps him.
Do you think Aiden raises his game because of Macklin? Different positions, and so it's different in that regard. But I wonder, with the younger brother being the hot shot, if Aiden's like, hey, I'm not going to get overlooked here. I've got my own game. Do you think he elevates a little bit because of little bro?
I do. I think they have a great relationship, and they work out together a lot. And I don't know if you're going to find two guys that work harder and put more time in, and I think they push each other that way. So I think that's pretty unique, and I think it's pretty cool to see. And we actually have 3 sets of brothers on our team this year. We got
Crazy.
the Celebrinis, we got the Hudsons, and we have the McCarthys. So that's going to be fun too.
I know Rick does a lot of the coaching off the ice and then more recently a lot of the rehab with Macklin off the ice. But what are you going to tell him about playing in these environments where, let's face it, there will be NHL scouts aplenty with eyes, not just on him, but on the entirety of your club?
Yeah, I think for our guys, they're used to that, and I think the kids at this level, they're used to kind of being in that environment. They know they're always being watched, and I think for them it's just to try to play your game and not think about it. Like, stay in the moment. You can't think too far ahead. You can't worry about what's going to happen later on. And that's kind of the mindset that our group has, that we just try to get better every day and not worry about what's in the future, and just stick to the process. And I think that's the biggest thing for these guys, to not get ahead of it, because you're going to have some ups and downs over the course of the year. And we try to talk to our guys about not getting too high at certain times and not getting too low. Try to stay even keel, because really it's about consistency. Can you keep doing it day in and day out? And that's the important message for our guys.
Big weekend coming up in February for the team around here. Simon Fraser University gets to face you in Boston College. These friendlies, what's in it for you guys? Because you can bet you get the best of whoever you take on when you sign up for one of these games.
Yeah, it's exciting to have them out. I think it's great for them, great for us. I think for us, it's pretty much coming out of our break after Christmas I think we're playing them early January. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think for these teams to come out and have a chance to play against BC and BU, it's probably exciting for them. It's a great environment out in Boston. So we're looking forward to it. For us, is to get us going again too, as well, coming off a break. So we have typically played a Canadian university every year in an exhibition game. So we'll continue to do that. I think it's great.
Well, marvelous stuff, Jay. We thank you for the
One last question before we let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got more hardware in the hallways of Boston University? Is it Jay Pandolfo or is it our good friend Dave Tomlinson? Who do you think has more shine in the hallways of the school?
I think that's a tough one.
Yeah. Both of you led the team in scoring.
Yeah.
Both of you had your moments. Come on, Pandolfo versus Tomlinson. Who wins?
Well, we both wore number 17 too.
Did you really?
Wow.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we both wore 17. So
Well, maybe we'll have to call it a draw.
I'm calling it a draw. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's a great man.
Let's put you both on skates again and see who wins.
Let's check that out.
But did you have a cool nickname like Sniper?
I did not have that. He definitely, no question, he wins the nickname game all day long.
Gotcha. Jay, marvelous stuff. Thank you for the time here. We wish you and your program the best of luck, and we'll be checking in and watching all the BC ties there this year. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
This great clip brought to you by, wait for it, Great Clips. It's going to be great.